Greg Cosell with us on 3HO. Greg, talking a little North Carolina Duke football. That's where Dawn is. I know you spent some time with Carolina.
We did. I was really kind of surprised and disappointed at that game last week. I mean, Jeff Collins is their DC. He's a good friend of mine. He's the reason I was down in North Carolina. Needless to say, I did not reach out to him after that game. So I'm really hoping that things get turned around this week because I was there. I know how hard he works. I know I saw the energy and excitement with their defense. So maybe it was just one of those games. But because it was JMU and not Georgia or Alabama, that makes it worse.
Yeah, 52 points at halftime. Greg, yesterday, Dawn said on the show, I miss Greg on Thursdays.
Yeah. Well, I should reach out to her because, I'm sure she's already spoken with the coaches. But
yeah, she did this morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll get to Tennessee against Miami coming up on Monday Night Football and take a look at some of those matchups. But let's pick out a couple of things from the Packers game. Packers beat the Titans 30-14. What happened on the pick six hitch route, Greg?
I think it was a predetermined throw by Levis. I think he saw off coverage, and it was Hopkins, and he thought that he's going to throw the hitch, and that it would be no problem because the corner was off. And Alexander read it the entire way. He's a veteran corner, but my guess is that was the call, and he was going to throw that ball, as we say, out of the huddle. And I think that's one of the things Levis has to work through right now. Is there's too many predetermined throws. Obviously there's a play call. And there's a primary, and defense permitting. Every play call, pass call is designed to get the ball to the primary receiver. That happens, a decent amount of the time, but it doesn't always happen. And I think that what Levis has to figure out and learn, as he started 12 games in the league, he's got to start to learn this. That you have to let the defense really tell you where the ball is thrown. You can't predetermine based on the play call where you throw the ball.
How challenging is it to evaluate Will Levis 3 games in, given the offensive line problems and the constant pressure that he's facing?
Oh, I think you can evaluate Levis to a certain extent, see strengths and weaknesses. But you're right. I mean, this line has allowed pressure at the highest rate in the league up to this point. They have to improve dramatically. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, I think Levis he's a certain kind of quarterback. You can certainly succeed in the league. There's many quarterbacks who are not just natural and innate anticipators. He tends to be a beat late at times with throws. There's some really good quarterbacks who are like that. He can compensate for it at times just with pure arm strength. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got tremendous arm strength. You could argue, for instance, that 22-yarder to Boyd on the first drive, which I think was 3rd and 9 on the first touchdown drive. He was a beat late with the throw, but his arm strength compensated, and therefore it looked like a really good throw. In an ideal world, to get better at anticipation and timing as he plays more. Some guys do, some guys don't. But I think you can evaluate Levis to a certain extent. He's never going to become Tom Brady or Drew Brees in the way in which he plays. But again, there are very few guys like that.
Absolutely. And you're talking about those guys right there, man. Those guys had protection. What did you see from the protection up front? Well, in this game, was it as bad as it seemed, Cosell?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't very good. I mean, there were too many sacks on Levis in which he had no chance to make a throw. And the other factor, too, is like neither the O-line at this moment nor Levis are ready to have to play effectively when it is pure pass situation, snap after snap.
Right.
They're not ready for that. So they will not look good, and it will appear that they are worse than they are. If they're playing in a normal game where they do not have to drop back and throw it on every snap, they will play better and look better. Yeah. But neither one, the quarterback nor the O-line, at this moment is ready to play in a game where it's pure pass on every snap.
Let me ask.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Let me ask you this before sticking with Titans. What did you see that LaFleur did for Malik Willis to make him have success in that game?
Well, what he's done for 2 weeks really is he's given him really defined reads, a number of easy throws, some no-read throws, some one-read throws, and he's used the run game really effectively. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Willis is an explosive straight-line athlete. He's used the zone read really, really effectively. But Willis has been good on third down. Now, some of the third downs, like I said, it depends what the down and distance is. But he's made some throws on third down through 2 games in his 2 starts. He's 12 for 17 for 190 yards with 5 scrambles as well. So, he accounted for 275 yards of offense in this game with his passing and his running, and he converted on third down.
Yep.
We were talking about the offensive line, and we've obviously on this show spent a lot of time, all the shows in Nashville, have spent a lot of time on what's going on at right tackle, and 9 pressures from Nicholas Petit-Frere. He ends up on all 4s, gets replaced, and now, Jalen Duncan today was limited in practice, and they're supposed to be having a competition at right tackle, so I don't know what to do there, but meanwhile, J.C. Latham is getting very favorable reviews from the analytics world. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing on tape from him? I know you're not an offensive line guy per se, but have you noticed him?
Yeah, I think he may be the least of the problems right now. I think he's done okay. I think he needs some work in terms of his anchor, which is really he can anchor really effectively. That was a strength in college, but I think in the NFL it's a little different because guys get into you quicker. And I think he just has to kind of learn that from experience, that guys are going to get into his body quicker than they do in college because he's very strong. But I think where the issue has lied is Skoronski has not been very good in pass pro. Even Cushenberry, surprisingly, has had some bad snap. So it's really been across the board. But you could make the argument, quite frankly, that Latham's been the best. But that doesn't matter. It's 5 guys. They have to work together. It's a cohesive unit. Yeah. That's what needs to happen. Now, the assumption would be with Bill Callahan that it will get better. But right now it's been a concern. And because Levis is not a pure anticipation thrower, when you have to throw on every snap, it just, exacerbates the problem. It's tough.
You were talking about the Green Bay offense, and we were not expecting them to be able to run the ball against the Titans defense. They found success going outside with some plays. Now it looks like the Titans think they're going to get Snoop Huntley. Titans defensive coordinator Denard Wilson said he expects the Dolphins offense to look a lot like what they saw from the Packers. Wilson said the plan is sound. They just need to execute better. Is that kind of what you would expect to see from Tyler Huntley with that Dolphins group?
Yeah, because he can't run the offense that Tua runs because he can't make those kinds of throws. Tua is as good a window thrower, and those are hard throws, by the way. He's as good a window thrower as there is in the NFL. Huntley can't do that. So the offense is not going to look the same. So what you're going to see is Huntley, if it is Huntley, you're going to see the run game element being a big factor, and you're going to see a very creative run game with Mike McDaniel, who's terrific with the run game. He's a run game savant, so it's going to be very creative, and Huntley will be a significant part of that. That's what you really have to defend. The run game will be critical here, and they've got speed. A-Chain, he can take it to the house on any play. Yeah. So you have to make sure that doesn't happen, and you're going to have to defend the zone reads far better than they did a week ago with Malik Willis.
Absolutely. Now you got an opportunity with Cheeto being placed on IR. Brownlee Jr. has an opportunity to get in there and get him some reps at the starting spot. Greg, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see him, play full games. I think that again, he'll play on the outside now, which of course he did in college. Now, also in the last game, they also played Baker a little bit at the outside. I think it'll be Brownlee, though. I'm real curious. I hope he plays well. I loved him coming out. It's the NFL. Guys get beat. We'll see how he responds, when he gets beat. In an ideal world, the Dolphins should not be able to throw the ball well. Huntley is not really that good a passer, and they should not be able to throw the ball well. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean they can't make a play here and there. It's still the NFL. Mm-hmm. But the passing game should not be the driving force that hurts the Titans in this game.
Big Jeff was talking, Greg, about the matchup with Aaron Brewer, former Titans center. Yeah. And he said he loves the matchup with him and T. Sweat going against Brewer. He said what they saw in practice and in games here, he still shows on film. And then he kind of, I think, checked himself a little bit and said he's feisty. He's good at what they do. He can move horizontally. What do you think about that matchup, Big Jeff and T. Sweat, and what they're getting done on the defensive front and maybe going against that offensive line for the Dolphins?
Well, they've been phenomenal in the run game inside. I mean, they between the tackles, teams can't run the ball on this defense. Sweat and Simmons are terrific. I don't think you'll see a ton of inside runs by Mike McDaniel because they're going to be overmatched. Brewer's going to be overmatched in this game. They know that going in. Now, that doesn't mean you won't see a run here and there, but they're not going to attack Simmons and Sweat on the inside in the run game. That will not be a foundation of what the Dolphins do. I mean, Brewer is a small center. He can't handle Simmons or Sweat.
No. By no stretch of the imagination.
I mean, Sweat just...
Sweat's been really good. I mean, they've been great on the inside run game, guys. That has not been a problem with their defense.
What have you seen specifically from Sweat? Because eyeball test, he always shows up doing something, moving people, not getting moved himself, keeping offensive linemen off linebackers. He just seems like he's eyeball test really playing well.
He's a big man who has power and strength to his game. Think of it this way. Strength is the ability to hold a point. Power is strength in motion. That's the difference. He's shown both. And he's got really light feet for a big man.
What is one of the reasons, if you've been able to watch Miami games, why can't they get those same explosive plays? What are they missing?
Miami?
Yeah, Miami.
You mean in the pass game?
Yeah, in the pass game, because we saw game one, I think, with Waddle and
because they're playing with a quarterback who's not really capable of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes down to that. They've got explosive playmakers, but someone's got to deliver the football.
That's right.
So, and by the way, when I went back this summer and watched about 252 dropbacks over a 2-day period, the large percentage of their explosive plays, come from intermediate passes that Waddle and Hill turn into explosive plays. They don't get their explosive plays from deep throws.
Right.
A lot of people think a fade ball is a deep throw. A fade ball is not a deep throw. Tua is a great fade ball thrower, but that's not a deep pass.
Right.
So, they get a ton of their explosive plays from those unbelievable window throws that Tua can make, and then guys run after catch.
Right.
They don't have a quarterback who can make those throws right now.
Yeah, get it to their playmakers quick. Let the playmakers be playmakers.
And Tua is so good at hitting those guys on the run.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he throws them open.
He's just Purdy's really good at that. Tua's really good at. There's certain quarterbacks who are really good at that. That's a really difficult thing to do. Throwing the ball between the numbers with unbelievable timing, anticipation, and precise ball placement is a really hard thing to do.
Cosell, I know you've been super busy with the NFL, how it's going on. Did you get a chance to peek at Oklahoma and Tennessee game?
I glanced at it. Yeah.
Okay.
My biggest concern, and of course I've tried not to tell my wife this, is I have a wedding tomorrow and I can't watch the Georgia-Alabama game. I'm so unhappy.
Oh, Greg.
I know. But it's.
Hey, listen. It's on the ESPN app, so just have your little phone.
I can't sit at a wedding and be staring at my phone watching Georgia and Alabama.
Homer Simpson did it in the.
I don't know where the wedding is. That's my wife handles that stuff. So I'm hoping maybe it's in a place where there's a bar and they have it on the TV.
Right.
Hey, real quick on the way out, how good are those two inside linebackers, man? It just seems like it's an avalanche with those guys getting better and better each week with Kenneth Murray and Ernest Jones.
I think they will get better and better. I think Murray is I think been playing pretty well, not charting every snap. So again, I don't know how the coaching staff sees them, but you're dealing with two really athletic guys that have good size, and I would expect them to continue to get better.
13 tackles for Ernest Jones last week. All right, Greg, have fun at the wedding, man. I'm sorry about the college football viewing, but
nothing I can do. It's life. Sometimes life crops up.
Yes, it does.
Tyler on YouTube says weddings in the fall are a no-go.
I know.
Especially in the South, he says. All right, Greg, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Cosell.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Right.
There he is. He's Greg Cosell, executive producer and analyst for NFL Matchup, which is an incredible show that you need to catch on the ESPN property. Senior producer for NFL Films for 44 years.